We're live.
Good afternoon, and welcome to episode 110. You heard that right, folks. 110 of Pillar Talk. I'm here with Rob Miller, the head. What is it you call yourself on your page? The head ape of our
head primate,
the silverback gorilla of Artistic Ape Studio. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate coming out here, and
I appreciate you came here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Rob Miller. I'm the creator of Artistic Ape Studio. I was a season 8 contestant on Face Off on the Sci-Fi Channel, and makeup artist and kind of sculptor, artist all around. I pretty much do everything but basket weave and crochet. So, but anything else in between, I can do it.
But you could basket
I
weave.
could,
yeah. So I didn't even know you were on TV.
Yeah,
you were on season 8.
Season 8 of Face Off. Yeah, on the
How
Sci-Fi
far did you
Channel.
get?
I made 8 episodes out of 14. Spoiler alert. They brought us all back. We wound up winning the whole thing. Our team did. So Darla Eden was the one that won it, but we wound up winning it as a team. And but yeah, it was a cool experience. Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, that just threw the whole podcast. You just threw a curveball at me, dude. So okay. You're an artist. You said you've been doing it your whole entire life.
Yeah, since I've been sculpting probably since I've been 8 years old. I when Star Wars came out and I started collecting the action figures, there was certain action figures that they didn't make and I wanted, so I would take Play-Doh or some type of clay, air dry clay, and I would make the actual figures themselves. And then I just started doing that, and then I got into doing.
You were a stubborn kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
If they didn't make it, I made it. So, but then I got into doing garage kits, and which is for the older folks out there, the old Aurora kits, like the Frankenstein and Dracula old plastic model injection molded kits. I used to sculpt those, and they're called garage kits because you make them in your garage with resin and crude molds and that.
Are those? My stepdad does those. They're people riding cars. They're models.
Yeah.
And then it's the people riding the cars. I forget what they're called, but
Freakos or something.
Something. He does those, and he really likes those.
Yeah, it's very similar to that.
Okay.
But mine were made out of resin.
You were modeling.
I would sculpt them out of clay, and then I would cast them in silicone, and then I'd make a silicone mold, and I would cast them in resin, then I'd paint them, and then I'd sell them, and that's what started me. And then a good friend of mine from
what year is this?
Oh, probably
your first sale as an artist.
Probably 96.
I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's awesome. Okay, so that sparked up.
Well, a friend of mine actually in this building we're in today, he used to have the basement. He owned Rainstorm Pictures down in the basement. He did TV commercials, and he did some short horror films and that. And then he wanted to do a kind of a big budget local film. So he asked me if I could do special effects, and I'm like, no, but I could teach myself. So I taught myself on how to do special effects, and we filmed the movie in this building. Mostly on the staircase you walk up here there to some of the scenes are in there. A lot of the scenes that were filmed in the very basement. Up in the top floor bathroom, we had a whole the studio upstairs. We built a whole crawl space, like ductwork up there.
Yeah.
And we filmed majority of the movie here in this building. I didn't want to tell you because I know you.
That is so awesome.
So
we didn't know that.
But, it's called 13 Seconds. But we won some awards. I won Best Makeup for the Detroit Film Festival and Independent Film Festival. We went to Madison Square Garden and filmed at a New York Independent Horror Film Festival. We did really good out there. We got a lot of awards, and that's what kind of got me into doing makeup. And then I've had kids and they grew up, and then the TV show Face Off came on the Sci-Fi, and we became fans of that because I was all into makeup, but I never really did anything. I kind of we had kids and I became a dad, and I kind of put all my art on the back burner for about 10 years. And
Were you still messing with it here and
a
there?
little bit, yeah. I would do drawing. I guess I draw too, and I would draw and I'd do stuff for the kids. We'd play Play-Doh and stuff or
Okay.
clay, and I'd make cool things with the kids, and they always like, "Wow, Dad, you're really good, cool." Well, then I started getting back into it a little bit, and then I had stuff from the film that I did, and we had our third child, Riley, my daughter. She was born with Down syndrome, so we got really involved with special need charities and that, and I became part of the 501st Legion, which is a Star Wars group that does costuming for different children's charities around the world. And they raise millions of dollars each year for different children's charities, and I got involved in that just to kind of give back, because there was a lot of charitable organizations that helped us out, and I felt that it was a way for
It
me
was
to
your
give.
time to
It
give
was,
back,
yeah. So plus, as a love of Star Wars, what better reason to get dressed up and act like a complete fool, but just go out there and
Right.
But the hardest part was going like to Mott's Children Hospital, to the cancer ward, and you see these kids in there, and
They're pretty bad off.
they're bad off, but it's a kind of an eye-opening thing, because the few hours you're there, they forget why they're there. And it's really kind of, it was good. I was a Tusken Raider, a sand person, so it was nice to have a mascot, because I'll tell you, there's a lot of times I cried when I looked at a lot of these kids, and being a big grown man, but man, let me tell you, seeing these kids off, and that there's,
and because a lot of that stuff is gonna make you cry, but you get behind that mask, you could be all
it's hard.
eccentric and stuff.
It was nice because I didn't have any talk. I couldn't talk or nothing. So
okay.
But yeah, it was hard. But I felt that I made a difference and did that. Well, then
I mean, that's like you said, for 2 hours, this kid didn't understand. He would like.
Well, some of the kids, their last wish was to watch Star Wars with some Star Wars characters, and it was kind of mind blowing that a child would want to spend his last moments, or few moments left on this planet, with a stranger just to watch TV, and meet you. And it's kind of heartbreaking to think that
I think if it makes you feel good, though,
it does,
because at least even though you didn't have to say nothing, you were in a mask, and it just felt he was happy.
There's one moment that really stands out to me. We did this birthday party, and it was one of my first troops, and this family had us all come out, and it was pouring rain, and they had this kid. They called us and asked us, we're all volunteers, and they called us, and they tried to rally the troops to make this party really unique for this kid. And it wasn't the kid's birthday, but they weren't afraid. They were afraid that he was going to make his birthday. So they held it like 6 months before his birthday, and he was 7 years old, and they didn't think he'd make it to 4. So he was in a wheelchair and very nonverbal, just pretty much just a statue. I mean, he didn't make any, expressions or anything. And we got out there, and so the family just started breaking down and crying. And we're like, what's going on? What's going on? Did somebody do something wrong? And they seemed like hysterical. Like it was like something happened. And the father came over and pulled us as a group, and they said, this is the first time they've ever seen in 7 years their son smile. And I was just like, are you kidding me? It was just like,
he was emotional all that time. And then he was happy.
Yeah. And he moved, and he tried to clap his hands, and it was just like, whoa,
that's
it was deep, man. It was crazy.
That's gotta make you feel good.
It does.
So all this you get to, and then you were a fan of the show Face Off. So what was this process of trying to get into that?
Well, we started watching it. My daughter was probably maybe 4 or 5 at the time, and she brought in one of my masks that I made, a latex mask, and she pointed to the TV and she said, Daddy, and pointed to the TV. So she realized what we were watching was what I did. So the kids were like, and I had a friend that was on season.
Were you back into art real hard at that time? A little bit,
not much, but just a little. I had stuff sitting around and displayed. And a friend of mine, Dan Phillips, was on season, I believe he was on season 6. He was a contestant on Face Off. And I thought, he was an older guy. And I thought, I'm, 40, I think I was 41 at the time. And I'm like, what's the worst they're going to say? No, if I try out. So I wrote a letter and sat down, and my wife and I sat down and we kind of worked out a letter together. And I just basically told them my life story and told them why I want to do it. And I'm doing it for my kids and, trying to get back in the arts and trying to, you know, just do it again, kind of dust off the old shoulders and head back into it. So I didn't hear nothing. I sent out my they had write a like a letter to them, basically reason why you want to be on the show. I didn't hear nothing for probably 4 months. And then all of a sudden out of the blue, I get this email saying, "Hey, we want to give you a shot on Face Off." And I was like, "What?" And so then they said, "Yeah, but the thing is, you got 3 days to do a self makeup on yourself. This was a Friday. You need to submit it by Monday."
Hmm.
And I was like, "You've got to be kidding. I have no supplies. I have nothing." And at the time I was getting back into artwork. I was studying, I was apprenticing Bobby Causey, which is phenomenal. Probably the best lifelike sculptor in the world. I mean, he lived in Allen Park, and I was working under him I was a fan of his for years. Well, then I went to automotive sculpting school when the economy kind of tanked in 2008. I sold my entire toy collection and comic book collection and stuff, and I went back to school to go back to automotive sculpting, and wound up going into that. And one of the guys' teachers' dads was good friends with Bobby, and I'm like, he goes, "You'd like my friend Bobby?" And I'm like, "Bobby?" And he's like, "Yeah, Bobby Causey." And I'm like, "The Bobby Causey that sculpts?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, he lives here in Michigan." I'm like, "You're kidding me. I've been a fan of this guy's for years, and I come to find out
Didn't even know he
he lives
lived.
down the damn street from me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You guys." So he wound up hooking us up, and we became the best of friends. And I went out and we worked on a pilot episode called Detroit Sculpt City, where we did some. It was a TV show for A&E right after. It was going to be after Walking Dead, around that series.
Okay.
And we did a pilot episode, and I did some behind the scenes work for him. And they flew out to California and did it. It didn't wind up taking off, but it was fun to do.
Right.
But then
worth it.
I didn't have at that time, my wife and we lost everything. During the economy, I lost my job. She lost her job. We became basically homeless. Well, I got 3 kids. I got one special needs kid, and we didn't have a house. We wound up losing our home. We wound up losing everything during the whole economy crash in 2008. And so here we are, without no jobs, and I'm trying to get on a television show with no money, and I have 3 days to get all these supplies that I don't have. And back then, the Amazon wasn't as like it is today.
Yeah, you can't get that shit.
You can't get that stuff. Well, there was this place in Shelby Township. It was TWB that used to sell supplies, and Bobby used to get all his supplies from there. So he told me, he's like, "Go there. These guys will help you out." And I wound up, I got a credit card, and I was going to just spend it all on a credit card, even though I was, in debt.
Dead broke.
Yeah, dead broke. And I was just going to try what I could. So I went there and got the few things that I need. And Bobby wound up paying for the whole thing for me. He wound up fronting the money for me to get that opportunity to be on Face Off. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have.
That's really cool. So you were back against the wall.
I was, yeah.
And so now it's Friday, or when did you get the supplies?
I got supplies that day because they had them in stock. So
Friday.
I went home Friday. It was late, but I did Saturday. I had to do a makeup on myself.
Have you ever done it before?
No, never.
You've done it on other people,
but never on myself. And then without my glasses, I wear trifocals, and I'm blind as a bat. I mean, I can't see nothing.
Without the glasses, this art don't get made.
Yeah, exactly. So then I wound up, I had to come up with a character, had to come up with a costume, and come up with a backstory in 3 days. And so I wound up
first you had to come up with the supplies.
Yeah, supplies.
Then the character.
Then I had to sculpt it all by hand. I sculpted it in my living room on a card table, a folding card table. At that time, we were just now getting back. We lost our house and we were trying to find. We looked at apartments, we couldn't find nothing. We wound up getting a trailer in a trailer park because that's what we could afford at the time.
Right.
And so we wound up getting that, and I had just a basic square, like basically the table we're sitting at, just this folding table, and I did the sculpture on there, and I made a rhino. I came up with this idea of the flying rhinos. It was a World War II kind of rhino pilot that it was called his name was Reginald Chargington is the story I came up with, and he fought the Obsidian Flyers, which was a group of stone gargoyles that they fought.
So you came up with a backstory and everything to this motherfucker?
A whole backstory. So then,
oh jeez.
So then I wound up. Here's a picture of that's me in makeup right here. I don't know if you can see. That's the rhino right there that I did on myself for the audition.
What?
And then I had to do that on myself. Well, then
Josh, can you see this? The rhino?
Yeah, that's me. And then we had to.
That's you.
Yep, that's me. So then they did an interview with me. Then they wound up liking everything. I'll save this here. So then they wound up liking it. They gave me a second audition. I had to fly out to California, and I had to do the same thing in front of them. They gave you a 2-hour time limit to a makeup.
So you sent it in, and they accepted it. And you still have to do another.
They flew me out to California.
Oh, to prove you did it.
To prove I did. Well, I had to do it on film, so I had to do I had to do it on videotape myself, and I had no idea on how to videotape anything, because I never did that stuff. So I set up a video and time lapsed it so it had to be 10 minutes long. So I had to do a makeup that took me 2 hours to do myself, and then after sculpting it, casting it, and doing everything else, putting it on myself, then they flew me out to California. Then I had to redo it on myself, but they let us cast the pieces ahead of time. We were allowed to create another character, but we were allowed to somewhat paint it and somewhat cast it to bring it with us. So I wound up doing it all out of silicone. So then I said, hey, I did this, Reginald Chargington. I'm going to do so my story was Reginald Chargington fights the Obsidian Flyers, and what's a better way to destroy a flying gargoyle, but to rip off his wings, make grounding basically.
Yeah.
So his crew chief is a ex Obsidian Flyer that he wound up saving, and his name was Balthazar. And so he was an Obsidian Flyer, which is a gargoyle that the gargoyles tore off his wing and banished him. And then Reginald picked him up and brought him on his team. So he became the mechanic. So then my second makeup was Balthazar. So then I created a gargoyle, and that's the middle picture you see there. That's me with the wrench as the crew chief.
Is that the one you did for
the California show, or for the California makeup, the middle one? So that's the middle one there. That's me.
The middle one?
That's me as Balthazar, the gargoyle. And when I was out there,
that's badass.
And when I was out there, I didn't, know anything, but I wound up breaking a record on the show. I did the fastest makeup. I did the whole thing in 45 minutes. And they told me I did the fastest.
Your initial, because you had professional equipment now, right?
Not really. It was pretty crude. It was just
you didn't get the professional equipment until they had cameras on you.
Yeah. It was still pretty crude, but then I wound up doing that on myself, and they said nobody has ever did two cohesive pieces that had a story in there. And the producers were so amazed on the story that I came up with. They're like, man, you could make this into like a cartoon or a movie or something. I'm like, yeah, that's
a badass movie.
That's how I think, and I had all the characters. I had, the different, there was a monkey that was on there. His name was Lieutenant Nanners, and he was part of the Flyers, and I had
that was just because you were sitting there thinking about a story while you're doing the makeup. Like he could have a monkey captain.
So I had all this stuff, and I came up with all these different characters. A gorilla and a monkey, and I had a hippopotamus, and I had all these different characters.
Sergeant Hipton.
And So then I wound up staying out there. I was out there for a week. They do a whole psych val on you. They have a psychologist come out there. It's crazy. I had to do probably, I think, 6 different psychological tests where
Is
they
it
ask
for
you.
like being on camera and
I
stuff?
think so.
Or
It was make sure you weren't crazy. But but yeah, make sure you don't have any like serial killers coming on the show or something like that. Because when you're on the show, you're in a group of 15 people, strangers, and have no idea their backstory. So
you're totally right.
yeah, they just want to make sure you're not a psychopath going in this house. So
all I want to do is just stab everybody in
yeah.
here.
So we wound up doing this. They met with a psychologist and they talked to you, and it was pretty weird experience. Well, then I wound up flying back home, and I didn't hear nothing for probably about 3 weeks, and then they called me and told me you made the show.
I think that's pretty fast though. 3 weeks.
And it was like maybe a month at the most, I'd say.
So okay, a month, and then how fast was the show?
I would say I was out in California probably 6 weeks after they gave me the okay. I started filming in July or end of June because I was out there for my birthday.
Okay.
My birthday is July 12th, so anybody that sends me gifts, go ahead.
Yeah.
but
first send them June 28th to me,
but yeah, we went out the beginning of June, and then we got out there, and they picked us up at the airport, and then they brought us to this house, and
so they paid for the flight,
they paid for
everything.
The flight, yeah. People say, oh, you're on television, you made $1 million. No, I took a pay cut to go on the show. I almost didn't do it because at the time I just got back working, and they were paying $400 a week stipend for you to be on the show. That was it. But they took care of all your housing and food. You didn't have to pay for food or nothing like that.
Oh, so you were living. Yeah.
They put you up in I think it was a $9.5 million mansion out there. But it was just basically a house. I mean, anything in California is expensive.
Right.
But
with the other 15 people or whatever.
Right.
Okay.
So, but they had 3 bedrooms that we slept in, and they like had bunk beds, and there was one room that held, I want to say 6 people, and then one room had 4, and the other one had 4, and I can't remember whatever it made out. It was 15 people.
Right.
Figure out the math, but yeah, there was 4 of us to a room, and they didn't segregate either. It was men and women in the same room, and but anybody that's familiar with the show, it was myself, Ben Peters, Jamie Leonidas, and then Adam Milicevic was in the room together, and they had the other, but yeah, it was you basically go in a house with 15 strangers, not knowing anything about anybody. And it's weird that if you would have told me you're going to go in the house with 15 different people and become the best friends with all of them, I'd have told you a liar. But even to this day, I still keep in touch with quite a bit of them.
Really?
Yeah. That a lot of them went on to doing some really great stuff too.
Being on the show, you went 8 episodes.
I did 8 There's 14 episodes. I did 8. I wound up getting eliminated on a body paint challenge, which is, I hate body paint, and I got eliminated on the body paint challenge. So that was my weakness, and I wound up failing on that one. But
did you win any of the competition? Like the
yeah,
contests?
I didn't really win. I came. I got nods and best looks. Our team won the first competition. I wound up getting nominated for best Darla, and I got voted best art for our best makeup for the first one, and she wound up winning it. But my makeup was in top honors.
Okay.
I did that twice. But Logan and I, we did this. We had a sound challenge where they gave us a sound, and we had to create a monster based on the sound. And it was the first time they ever bleeped anybody on Face Off, because Race, it was Return of the Champions. They had Laura, Race, and Anthony Kozar on there as past winners, come out as coaches. And Anthony he was doing stuff for Adobe artwork for a computer for drawing, and he had to go to some seminar that he was already committed. So they brought in past winner to kind of coach us in that process. So, but we were the first ones ever, because they give you there's a crew out there called wardrobe, and you tell them what costumes you kind of want for your character, and then they do their best to get it for you. But you can either make or break a character in a matter of seconds with wardrobe, because you got to be very specific.
They go hit the town and get your shit.
Yeah, they basically So they could come back with some, like you say, I want this really cool florally thing. They'll come back with a Hawaiian shirt if you're not really too elaborate on what you want, and they
flowers.
You look like Don Ho with a dragon head. So so you got to be careful.
Cool though.
Yeah, so you got to be careful. So we were the first time they told us that we never used wardrobe. I made a complete bodysuit out of foam. And Race, if you go back and watch the episode, it's the sound challenge. Race, they built a whole fucking suit, and they bleep him, and they never bleeped anybody on Face Up for it.
They built a whole fucking suit.
So yeah,
dude.
This is a picture of the suit of the sound. It's me wearing the test fitting from the show. That's the monster that we made, the Moss Monster.
Can you see it? So he made a whole fucking suit, dude.
That's what he said, and it's pretty comical. You can watch it, but yeah, being on the show though, I met a lot of amazing people. I met Doug Jones, who was Abe Sapien from Hellboy. I've been doing shows with him, and got to meet him, and kind of, I wouldn't say we're friends, but we're acquaintances. He knows who I am, and we say hi to us, or he says hi to me, and when I go out and we talk to each other, and I say hi, and he remembers who I am from the show, and I got to meet a lot of great people, and the judges were amazing. Everybody, Glenn Hetrick is the one they always say he's the grumpiest, but he is, when you finally get to talk to him, he is the nicest guy you ever meet.
Really?
He's an amazing guy.
So what, you just, when they say it's time for you to go home, that's when you go home?
You get eliminated. Basically, you're saying, it's time for you to go, and you get eliminated.
And then they got a flight for you to go home.
Yeah, if they fly you home, I was done on Wednesday. Thursday, I was home. They fly you home like
you're out. Like shit. I'll see you tomorrow. Then.
Well, then they called me back and said, "Hey, you're coming back to film the final episode, because they're going to bring everybody back and make a team." Well, in the meantime, I got home, and I was home probably, I don't know, I'd say maybe 3-4 weeks. And I got a phone call from a contract house, and I'm thinking the lady had a thick accent, and it was hard for me to kind of understand her. And I'm thinking, what did she say? And I'm like, I can't have it. They were from California, and they were offering me a job, and I'm thinking, nobody knows I'm on the show, because it was all, I had to sign I had to sign this thing, because they held me liable for $1.5 million if anybody knew. My family didn't even know. My wife knew, and that was about it. And my brother knew, because
you breached contract.
Yeah. Basically, you breach contract. You're eligible to pay up to $1.5 million if they know.
And they only gave you $400 a week. Dude.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh my God, who knows this? So then I get the call back, and I call them back. Well, I find out it's Ford Motor Company offering me a job, because I went to automotive sculpting school, and the guy that saw me there years ago is offering me a contract job to work at Ford as a sculptor for sculpting cars
in California.
It was a contract house in California, but it was for Dearborn here in Michigan.
Oh,
so I was like, oh my God, what do I do? They like, can you start like next week? And I'm like, I gotta go to back to California in a couple of days. I can't tell them that I'm on this TV show, because then I'm breaching contract. So I'm talking to him, and I'm like, okay, what I'm about to tell you cannot leave this phone call. I said, I'm on a television show right now that I have to fly out in a week to finish the episode. You want me to start at Ford on Monday? I have to leave on Wednesday to fly back to California to film this show for a week. I'll be out there for like 10 days. And they're like, okay, let me talk to the manager and see what he wants to do. Well, Lloyd was the manager, and he says, yeah, that's fine. He can come work a couple days, fly out to California, then come back and work. And I'm thinking, okay. So I went and worked at Ford for 2 days.
Yeah.
Flew out And I told Lloyd, I says, you cannot say anything to nobody because, I could be held liable for $1.5 million if anybody finds out. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to say a word. So I fly out to California. I finish the final episode. We wind up winning it. And I fly back and I come back to work on Monday. And as soon as I walk in the door, like, hey, you're that guy that's going to be on that TV show. And I'm like, you've got
the whole
to be
fucking
kidding.
Ford
The
plant
whole
knows.
Ford studio knows that I'm going to be on this TV show.
As soon as you flew out, he was
Yeah.
like, you know why he's flying?
Yeah. So
He's on TV, dog.
So it was crazy. So I wound up going back to Ford. I'm thinking, holy shit, I'm going to be held liable. So I'm sweating bullets. I'm like, I'm just like, what am I going to do? Well, luckily, nothing became of it. And the show finally aired.
Did you get paid to go out for the last show too?
Yes, they did pay you for the last show. They paid your flight ticket. And then I was out there for 10 days and they paid you basically a
food,
week's
stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. But I actually, I think I mentioned I took a pay cut. I almost didn't go because the money wasn't that great. I was making more money.
Did you get like paid like money to go home with too when you filmed the last episode?
No.
They just paid for your whole
trip.
trip.
That's it.
Sent you the heck home.
Everybody thinks, if you're familiar with the show, you always have this makeup case that you carry around with you. Everybody thinks, oh, you get to keep that makeup case. Well, no, you get the little round tag that says your name on the makeup. That's the only thing I came home with. So everybody thinks you make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Because people started coming out of the woodwork once the TV show aired and they were seeing, oh, he's on TV. We had people calling me that I've never heard from, and like,
you want to give me 100,000?
I had this.
No, dude, I'm still broke.
Yeah, I had this one guy call us up and he was giving us a story about how his grandpa died and he needed money to fly somewhere and needed this, and we were like, oh my god, because he was a good friend and to my wife, and my wife's like, so she's like, it just seems weird. So she called his cousin. Well, come to find out, he was a heroin addict. He was trying to score some heroin off of us. And he wanted to
let me get that TV money, bro.
So he wanted some money from us so he could go score some heroin. I'm like, oh my god.
Wait, so your grandpa's not dead?
Yeah,
dude? No,
he's not dead. He's fine.
He's just real fucked up. You don't want to.
But I got a lot of stuff like that. But it was funny. Once the show aired, I started getting recognized like at stores, and my kids really got a kick out of it. What was amazing was I got so many people were hitting on me. I didn't know this, but the funny thing was it was all guys, because apparently I was huge in the bear community. And for people that don't know what a bear is, it's a fat, hairy gay guy.
Yeah.
And so I was a sex symbol in the bear.
I'm a fucking bear, dude.
Yes, so
I'm a bear, baby.
I am too. Because I was getting so many dick pics, dude. It was so funny. I show my wife, I'd go, look at this. We had this one guy in California, not California, but
I only dream of being that popular.
but I told my wife, I said, yeah, you're just jealous. I get, you get to sleep, go to bed.
Were you getting other bear dick pics or skinny bear dick pics?
It was bear dick pics. It was, trust me. It was definitely
nuts.
A lot of turtles, let me tell you.
Oh my
so you mean you would kind of call yourself a sex symbol?
Yeah, I was a sex symbol for the bear community, but yeah,
dude,
I
think I sent you a dick pic.
They called me Ginger Bear, so that was my nickname.
Oh,
you mean I got two?
So hot.
So then everybody at work would call me Ginger Bear, and so I got a kick out of it. I was flattered.
That's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it's like, I'm a sex symbol, but it's much to a bunch of men. But
what a good episode, 110.
Yeah, it is what it is. But still, I told I would tell my wife.
It's still funny though.
It is.
It's still cool.
I would tell my wife, I said, you're just jealous. I got all these people hitting. I was just like, yeah, but they're dudes.
It
doesn't matter.
You're just mad so many men want to rub their beard on my balls.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great, dude.
Yeah.
So when you get called out to the show, you were in a rut, but you got a job by then.
Yep.
And you took a pay cut to go on this show. Mm-hmm. Were you guys all right to were you all right to leave? Was your wife set up good? Not really.
No, it was hard. We had some family was helping out. We had some friends helping out. And what's weird is once I went on the show, I was dead to the world. I couldn't call home. It was like being sequestered for jury duty. So for 3 months, I had no contact with my family whatsoever. My oldest son had some health issues, and he wound up going to the hospital, and they didn't even tell me about it because they didn't want me to get worried about my son.
Emotional. That's
Exactly.
gonna fuck the show up. That would,
because they got a lot of money right on the show, and they don't want to go and put some shit in people's head. We didn't even know Robin Williams died because Robin Williams died on the show and during the filming, and we didn't know he died. And then some cameraman I overheard him talking to one of the guys, and they were talking about it off air.
The outside world. You knew nothing but that house and the studio.
We weren't allowed to watch TV. We weren't allowed to listen to radio. We couldn't have any books with us. We could have a Bible, but it couldn't have pictures. That was the only. But we weren't allowed to play.
What the fuck did you do?
We played board games and we swam a lot. And we, Adam and Logan. We did these like skits. It was like Second City. It was like Saturday Night Live. It was so funny. Adam, he would do these voices. He could do like Christopher Walken's like fantastic. And then Logan would do like Steve Swanson. Was it? I think his name's Steve, or no, the guy in the wheelchair off of Family Guy.
Joe Swanson.
Yeah. He could do his voice. So they reenacted It's a Wonderful Life, not A Wonderful Life, but Scrooge, where they were doing the turkey scene where he leans out the window, and Adam was Christopher Walken asking Joe Swanson for a turkey, and we would laugh so hard. It was just
so you guys were basically just bored as shit, and they're just trying to find something to do.
Yeah.
How long was 8 episodes? How long were you there?
I was there for 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah. Basically, we would film for 3 days. We would have Sundays off. Was the only day we had off. Saturday was interview day, to where they would pull us into a room. We would go do our interviews.
You would talk about the show,
and then it would like we would do like past tense, to where we would we got this the idea, and then we had to do this, and we have talking past tense, and
because they ask. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
it's like a reality where they interview the people in the room. But then we would go out. We would go to the
so Monday through Friday filming, Saturday interviewing. Sunday was off day. They were editing the video.
Yeah, Sunday we did laundry. Basically, everybody did we did our own laundry.
Okay,
and we had to wash all our clothes, and then we had to be careful too, because we couldn't wash an outfit that we wore like on Monday for Saturday, because we had to put those dirty clothes back on to show us talking about in the same clothes.
So you hang them bitches up on Monday. Like,
So if it was after the episode,
been wearing these shows for a week, dude. My balls stink. Okay, so you get the show, you're off the show.
Yeah,
you come home, you got the job.
I got the job at Ford because they didn't know I was on the show at all.
Yeah, I know, but because of your schooling and your other accomplishments you got. So this was paying your bills. How did, when you started getting recognized, how did that help your career as Artistic 8?
People would have me on like for Comic-Cons as a celebrity guest because I was on the TV show.
Yep.
So they would have me, and I would do makeup demos. I would do
as seen on TV.
Yeah, basically. And I started being known for making these larger than life displays. And I would bring them to the shows, and being in the financial situation that I was in, I know how it is not to have money to go, because some of these shows are like $45 before you even get in the place.
Yeah.
And if you got a family of 5, I mean, you're forking out a couple $100 before you even walk in the door.
Yeah.
And so I try to provide a free experience for kids and families to where they can get a picture. I don't charge anything for my photos. I don't charge anything for autographs. I give free autographs. I got cards that
and that's good, because you came from having nothing.
Yeah,
you understand it.
This is one of the characters that I did make. This is a full size Groot and Rocket. It's all made out of foam. We did. It's 13 feet tall.
You see it? Yeah.
It's all made out of pool noodles and foam fatigue mats.
No shit.
Yeah, and
so. That's crazy, dude.
So then also did a Demi Gorgon from Stranger Things, my own kind of version of the Demigorgon. And but then they have me at these shows as a celebrity guest, so I get a booth, and the only thing I ask in return is I will provide you with free entertainment. I'll come as a guest for free. Because a lot of times people don't do this stuff for free. They charge, a couple $1,000 to come do these shows. And did a Geek of Thrones. We could, instead of the Game of Thrones chair, we did the Geek of Thrones, where it was all full of different swords from video games and
I see the
movies.
Keyblade from
and it was all different video game swords and movies and anime. And
you're just a geek that's super artistic.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So I started being known for that. So then I started getting booths and tables and stuff and being invited because I had all these things to bring, and also because I was on the show. And
so the show, they wanted you to be there to bring more people,
yes.
And then you were actually giving out real experiences, dude.
And then I would do seminars. I would do on how to paint or how to fabricate with foam, because I was known as a foam fabricator. And I would give a seminar and do costuming and all this stuff. And costumes on budget. Basically I'm trying to, because I didn't have any money. I had to make all these things for
a budget anyway, just to show them.
Exactly. So that's
you got 10 pool noodles.
Yeah. So, but the funniest thing is when I go to Lowe's or go to Home Depot or something like that, I walk around and I'm carrying electrical piping and PVC pipe for plumbing and water pipes, and guys will come up to me and I'll be fitting them together. Like, no, you can't put those together. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm not. They're like, no, you don't understand.
I'm going to put a bunch of foam in it and connect it, dude.
Those won't work. And I'm like, yeah, they will. They're like, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm building a 12-foot robot. And they're like, okay, carry on, because they don't know what the hell I'm doing.
You can't put the pipe in the little pipe, dude. Yeah. You're not doing. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So it's funny because they're trying to save you from, blowing up your house.
That robot's not going to function because those pipes don't fit. It's not going to function.
But I got into 3D printing then, and started doing 3D printing. And
does that make your job easier?
It does.
Sculpting?
It does. Well, I still sculpt, but I have a friend that I became. I actually was a fan that became a real good friend of mine. We've met years ago, and he was a digital sculptor. He actually works for a company in Jackson that does all the laser etching and stuff for NASA and SpaceX. He does.
Holy shit! They're of course they're gonna have to have a digital sculptor for a fucking 3D printer, because that's
so
I didn't even know that.
In his spare time, he digitally sculpts like horror stuff and superheroes and stuff. So we started talking, and I'm like, hey, why don't I'll paint them? I have the ability to paint. Why don't you sculpt? I'll print them. So I brought him aboard. James Story is his name. Phenomenal digital sculptor. Probably one of the best digital sculptors. I can tell him anything that I want. He within a couple days he has it.
And you make some weird shit. Like you have a whole story behind this Rhino pilot and stuff. So
but I'm making we came up with we call them horror gnomies, and basically they're gnomes, like garden gnomes.
That on your Facebook
so
page.
then we now can there's Sam from Trick or Treat, so we make these horror gnomes, and I think there's 120 some different horror gnomes we do. That
look at Jigsaw.
Yeah, it's just so people fell in love with them, and we just you name it, we make it. It's just
dude, it's like your own little pop figure.
Yeah, it's my own little thing, and they're 12 inches tall.
No shit.
Yeah. And basically,
my God, I got to hit up Artistic.
We're just in the beginnings right now, because the beginning of this year, on January, I wound up the whole family contracted COVID, and I got super, super sick. I wound up my wife and I got COVID, and we got pneumonia on top of it. And the kids all got it.
After effects.
Yeah, my oldest son was the only one that didn't get it. We think he got it, but he didn't have any symptoms. But I wound up getting so sick that it wound up destroying my lungs, and I'm having a hard time breathing. So I had to cancel a lot of my shows this year because, at first they thought I had a mini stroke. So then I went to the doctor, went through all these tests. They figured, no, that's it. But because of COVID, I don't know if you can, I tell, but I'm like breathing kind of heavy. Even though I'm a fat guy, I don't normally breathe this heavy, but I only have 60% use of my lungs right now. And what's happening is they say that the COVID has given me lung damage to where like I have COPD. I've never smoked a day in my life, but I am retaining too much CO2 because I cannot exhale my lungs, and I'm having like pass out, like blackout episodes where I faint. So they've taken my driving privileges away, so I can't drive anywhere, I can't do anything. So they took me off work. So I've been off work I've only worked 4 days this year, and I missed my job because I'm a sculptor at Ford Motor Company. I work in the prototype 3D printing area. Now they moved me, and it sucks because I finally got a career or a job that I love to do. And I work with a great group of people and their family.
Making art.
Yeah. And I go to, and I do art every day and I get paid for it. And I'm going stir crazy right now because I've been off work, but I'm so ready to go back. I just went for a test, Thursday night. Oh, actually, it was yesterday, but I did a sleep study to where I have sleep apnea right now. So they're going to put me, I have a CPAP machine that I sleep with night. They're going to put me on a BiPAP machine, which is, it sucks the air out and pushes the air in. So it's going to suck the carbon dioxide out. I actually feel pretty good just today.
Have you did it?
I did it
first night.
Yeah. First night was Thursday. I did the test and I felt pretty good. And then come this past Sunday, I was telling you earlier, I wound up was just really sick. I had bad pain and lower back pain. Went to the doctor, found out I got kidney stones. So now I'm battling kidney stones now on top of this COVID stuff. And I told my wife, I said, I've had it. This whole year has been a complete, shit show for me. I had to cancel. I go to Astronomicon, which is one of my favorite show. Mike Winnegar puts on a great show. It's just, they're the guys from Twisted, Jamie and Paul. They do such a great job on a show. And I missed it last year because I had a cancer scare. But luckily, knock on wood, it wasn't cancer.
Damn, dude, it was just trying to take you down, bro.
It was a tumor I had to have surgically removed, but I missed last year's show. And then this year they thought I had a stroke at the time, and I didn't want to commit to something. If I was so sick, then I wanted to save that space for somebody that could, they could use. And I didn't want to cancel on them and then have an empty space for them. So I wound up having to cancel on them, which really killed me. And, I do have a show coming up in July, Capital City Con, which it's in Lansing. Really good show. Okay. I try to do all the shows in Michigan. I'm a Michigan born native, and I try to support all the Michigan shows. I try to support as much as I can locally. And I do the Monroe Pop Fest with Gary, and I sponsor the IWR wrestling, and I'm a sponsor of that. So I try to do what I can to help out.
That's how we
that's how we met. And so but I try to do what I can. But this year has just been a complete mess for me.
Sometimes you got to take a look at yourself, and you got to get yourself right, because you don't want to be torturing yourself.
What kills me is I have this beautiful studio in my basement, and I couldn't even go down the basement and work. Just within this last week, first time I've been in the basement. I've got, all these 3D printers down the basement, and I can't even touch them. And it's just like, it's depressing. You get in this funk. And it's just like, man, it's like, I just want to get down there and do something. I just sit and, there's only so much TV you can watch. And, it's just, it got real depressing, and it's just like, you feel down on yourself, and it's like, what can I do but I've got a good support group. My wife is my rock. She's the backbone of everything.
You always got to have a good
I couldn't do anything without her. Yep. She's the brains behind everything. I'm just the front man. You're
just the guy that does the shit. She makes it profitable.
If it wasn't for her, I'd be shit. I wouldn't be doing nothing. And we're celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary. We've been together 30 years this year.
Congratulations.
And love of my life. It's just like, it's amazing to be, in a relationship with your best friend, but yet do art. She's very creative. She's an amazing painter.
And she supports your creativeness.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her,
my wife let me be a drag queen.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
Yeah,
that's all I need. You need somebody that supports you
Yeah,
with all
right.
that weird shit you do.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a super nerd. Well, it just so happens that I like that shit too.
Yeah.
Let's do some weird shit.
But what's funny with my wife, we are like complete opposites. She is a clean freak, and I am the biggest pig in the world, and she is on me all the time. She's in my studio, and it's a hot mess. And she's always behind me cleaning up, and it's like, why do you do this? It's like, that's just how I am. I'm sorry.
You remind me of me and my wife. That makes it. Now I know we're gonna make it 30 years.
Yeah, it's been an amazing ride, but we decided we did it because kind of as a hobby at first, and now we're doing it. We got our legit now. We're LLC. We got accountants. We got lawyers.
That's
now,
what I was just about to ask.
Yeah, we're all official now. We're gonna start. We're starting a
Artistic Ape LLC, or is it Artistic Ape Studio LLC?
Yeah, Artistic Ape Studio LLC. We're gonna start doing some how-to on YouTube, like behind the scenes, and
God, and you're a really good dude.
I'm gonna teach how to paint. We're gonna go do some how-to videos. Maybe I'll hit you up.
Send us some, and we'll play them on the morning shows.
Maybe you need a co-host or something. If you,
I could do that too. Yeah, I could.
So might hit you up for that, but. We're gonna do some classes. I want to teach some kids. There's nobody around here that does this. A lot of kids that want to father, son, mother, daughter, type things, to where you want to do creative things, learn how to make a mask.
You can have like a little place where everybody comes and shows up, and they all daddy daughter.
Yeah,
dude, I'm taking my daughter to a daddy daughter dance on May 14th.
Yeah.
We just got tickets. I'm pretty sure she would love to go to a sculpting class with her, or like mother daughter.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring all my kids.
Yeah, I could make a basically a generic a mask, and everybody paints a latex mask, and you get to take it home with you, and then maybe teach you how to.
That's a good experience.
Yeah, learn how to paint, maybe airbrush. Get some airbrushes out,
and you're doing it to these kids because when you were a kid, you just wanted to make an action figure. This kid's like, holy shit, I'm actually a good artist.
I'm big into the art, field, and I want to give back because so many schools now you're lacking on doing the art programs, and and it's everything's about science, and now it's STEAM, but they're adding some art, but yeah, there's a lot of creative people out there that are being stifled and not having the ability to express themselves, and I'd like to offer that. I'd like to get possibly a grant or something to where I could do a community showcase, to where I could open it up to the community, to where I could
just have them all there.
Yeah, have them all there, do a seminar to where they talk, and everybody does whatever they want. They can sculpt whatever they want, they can cast whatever they want, and paint it. So
then you're learning from a professional.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not okay, he has a good resume.
Yeah,
it's not that. Your work looks,
I appreciate it,
that it's that good.
Yeah.
So like, if I'm looking at your work just as an outside guy, you're a professional. You're a professional artist.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And shit, you went on a TV show about art.
Here's a piece that I just did. It's a zombie. It's full size zombie Captain America.
That's sweet. Full size.
Yeah, it's full size.
You can put a wing on it.
And lipstick. That's from a sculpt. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but James didn't sculpt that. This is a different sculptor, but I'm really fantastic sculptor. But he gave me permission to make it and show it off and stuff. My painting ability.
That's
and that.
Sweet.
But I apologize. I can't remember his name. It'll come to me after the show probably. But
so you were sculpting and then painting the hardened sculpting, and now when you 3D print, is there like a certain type of material you would use?
I use a plant base. I keep it kind of environmentally safe. It's a biodegradable. It doesn't biodegrade like tomorrow. It'll be like years from now but it's a plastic that's made from corn. Okay. So it's a recyclable corn based material that it's called PLA. There's a scientific name, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
But
none of us know.
Yeah. So but I use a PLA base, and then there's still a lot of sanding. There's still a lot of prep. You gotta put body fillers like Bondo and and prime it and sand it and do all this stuff and then paint it. And
then when you seal it, it's forever.
Yeah, it's forever. Yeah. But if it does, get dropped out, it's not gonna kill the environment. It'll eventually melt, but yeah, it's just a very good. I also do resin printing, high definition resin printing. I have resin printers that'll do. That's where a lot of my the statues and stuff, like almost like sideshow type stuff, or really high detail. I'll use those. We're getting into those. We're going to start doing some one of a kind. I'm actually working with Mess Bucket Comics right now, Dominic Ringo, and
working on making a website.
No, we're doing. He's a comic publisher, but he plays hockey and stuff, and he's good friends with Darren McCarty from the Red Wings.
So am I. Just not. I'm just kidding.
And so they approached me about doing the 25th anniversary fight at the Joe. So I did a commemorative anniversary statue of Darren and Claude Lemieux, fighting on there, and it's I've got a picture here.
Oh my god!
We're going to be releasing that here pretty quick. Dom's in the process of getting that.
Can I show it to the people?
Yeah, I think. Yes. I don't think it's an issue. I think that's. But here's Darren holding the statue.
So is this the guy that made Darren's comic book?
Yes.
Okay, we've got two of Darren's comic book in the other office.
So there's Darren with the statue that's going to be released from Mess Bucket Comics and Artistic Ape Studios.
Josh, you got to see this shit up close, dude.
I got better pictures up close so you can see it.
Whooping his ass.
But yeah, that
He's
James
got him down in doggy position.
Yeah, James did this digital sculpting on it. I painted them. We're gonna try to do a limited run on them. I hand paint each one. They're all one of a kind, basically, because I hand paint each one.
Yeah.
And Darren's going to be signing every one, and then there's going to be my signature on the
one for the studio.
There's going to be a certificate of authenticity from Dom and myself, and we're going to sign them both, and that's coming. They're going to be limited and numbered.
This dude was on TV, so you need this shit.
So that's to look at Mess Bucket Comics for the release time. He's getting a commercial made right now for them, and they're going to be released here soon. So, and they're made. As soon as you order them, I make them, I paint them, and they come to you. It's all through me. So, I print them, I clean them up, I sand them, I prime them, I paint them, and then
if you don't know what he's talking about, it's when Darren McCarty's got Claude Lemieux's head into the ice and he's punching the shit out of him, okay? And it is beautiful. If you couldn't see it on the camera, look at it in real life.
But it's
how tall is it?
It's probably about
6 inches, 8 inches.
The disc is it's a hockey puck is the base. It's about that big around, and it's probably about 10 scale. Because we wanted to make it to where you could put it on a shelf. Because you make it too big, you can't put it nowhere. We wanted to make the box itself.
You make it too big, you got to sell it for like 10,000.
Yeah, so we want to keep it. Because you're getting, a Stanley Cup champion. You're getting him to sign it. Plus, you're getting it. It's hand painted by me. A face off. I'm not Darren McCarty, but you are. In art, you're Darren McCarty, bro. You're getting a paint job from a professional. You're getting sculpting by the guy that does all the work for NASA and SpaceX.
Right.
So you're getting, you got some good quality people.
So you're in space. You got the best artist. You got the best fighter in the NHL.
You got Dom Ringo that does the publishing of his comics. Another, it's a great team. So. But that's there's a lot of stuff like that coming out. There's a lot of stuff like that can be coming out of Artistic Ape Studios in the near future. It's been slow moving because of my health. I spent most of the year in the hospital and back and forth and tests and stuff. So it's been slow moving. Now I'm finally feeling good. I'm getting up, so we're getting ready to release everything. It should have been released before, but just my health got. Is
there anything else you got planned?
Yeah, I got Crypt Keepers in Shelby Township, or no, is it Shelby Township? Sterling Heights, I believe. Yeah, Sterling Heights. Crypt Keepers Emporium. Dave Douglas, he owns Crypt Keepers out there. Tonight he's doing a halfway to Halloween trunk or treat at 4 to 6 o'clock. If you guys want to go out there, look it up. It's all year round Halloween haunted house or store. It's a Halloween store, but it's amazing. You think Spirit Halloween's this
For
is
your
like,
Halloween junkies,
yeah.
we got it for you.
Crypt Keepers in Sterling Heights. It's on 12 Mile or 14 Mile and Van Dyke. But yeah,
one of those roads. I promise
but you look it up. You won't be disappointed. He's an exclusive. He's an exclusive seller of the gnomes. There's some of the gnomes there, but it's a year-round Halloween shop. You know, you can go. He's an exclusive dealer for my gnomes, and also we're getting ready to release a whole line of Killer Clowns from Outer Space statues. We have basically almost all the clowns. We have Clownzilla, which is going to be 2.5 feet tall. Scale to their 9-inch statues.
I started collecting poppets, and I don't even know why I have them anymore.
But but we want to give a good quality product, and like I said, everything I make is hand painted. It's all one of a kind. It's all made by me, produced by me, painted by me, and I stand behind my product. If there's something wrong with it, I fix it, and if it, God forbid it breaks, I always replace it. I never, no questions asked. I had a guy that bought a mask from me years ago. His son dropped his it was a Red Hood mask from Batman.
Ooh.
And I made that for him. He texted me and asked me how much it would cost to fix. I said, send it to me, I'll fix it for you. So he sent it to me, and I fixed it for him for free and sent it back to him, and wound up selling him some more props for his costume in the process, but it worked out good. I stand behind my
now he's going to come back to you no matter what for any of his needs.
And I try to make it affordable, and it's like a lot of people are trying to really nickel and dime you on a lot of these props and stuff, and it's hard because I've been there.
It's
I know
also your life you're putting into that. That's a lot of work.
It is, but my wife's always on me. You need to charge more. It's like I feel bad because I've been there, and I know how much. To me, she's like, you got time involved, but for me, it's
babe,
fun.
I've been a broke nerd before. I know what it's like.
That's the hardest part, is putting a price on your artwork because you love it so much. It's not a job, it's therapy.
Yeah.
And when I'm down there, it's like almost just relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's hard work, but it's just so fun.
It's detailed, and it takes a lot. Just because it is hard work, but you love it, so it really doesn't feel like hard work. But that's a lot of time out of your, like, and if you're making a special order for somebody, that's something maybe you didn't want to make, or something, maybe, and then you're sitting down there for 4 hours doing all this work, and you got other guys making designs. You got a whole team of people.
And like I said, with James working for me, I do pay him. He's part of my staff, so I do have a payroll that I have to pay him, and then my wife helps me down there, and my kids help me, and it's just we have a family business, and it's like
it's a real family
business.
It
is, and
everything's working.
And my brother Lucian, my oldest brother, he was living in California. He finally moved back here in Michigan, and we got to he's been gone for years, like 20 some years. And he helped me redo my basement, turn it into a studio. I've got a full paint booth in my basement, exhaust fans and everything, so it's all environmentally safe. And I've got all my 3D printing and stuff down there, and he helps me set that stuff up. He's an electrical engineer, so he's really helpful.
Way to come through, bro.
Yeah, so he rewired my basement to make it all safe, and everything has its it's got a breaker box down there.
That's good.
So everything's legit.
Because that's a lot of shit that's running.
It is. It's a lot of, and I want to keep it safe because when you got a bunch of machines running down there, you don't want them to catch on fire.
You're right.
And you got to make sure everything's safe, and
So there's a lot of shit coming out of Artistic Ape Studio.
There is. There's gonna be a lot of stuff coming up pretty soon. So it's just
as long as the wife keeps coming up with good ideas.
Yeah.
or she finds a way to market all these crazy ideas you have.
But yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, it was slow moving this year, but I'm feeling good. I'm getting back.
Get yourself right, bro.
Yeah, Health comes first.
And if you would have killed yourself working your ass off, then you couldn't do.
No.
You know, the future couldn't be as bright as it's going to be.
Yeah, no, it's been a great ride, and I can't wait to what the future brings.
I got two more questions to ask you. One is plug yourself in everywhere we can find Artistic Ape and.
Right, I'm terrible with.
You want me to ask the wife this?
It's Artistic Ape Studio on Facebook. We're getting on Twitter. We're going to start getting a YouTube page. We're going to have TikTok. We're going to have.
Send us every time that you make a new thing. Send it to us. We'll promote it.
We're going to have a website, artisticapestudio.com. You can be able to order online. We're going to have an Etsy store where you can order stuff.
You might even have job postings.
Yeah, we might.
Do you like painting?
Looking for possibly some interns to
come to a few of my shows, and then I'll maybe hire you.
Because it's starting to build up. We're gonna need some extra hands to paint.
Yeah.
So
Some people that are
yeah, learn
interns.
We in trade, you know, they do some work, and I teach them how to make stuff. So
Yep. And now you can be on Face Off after season 28.
Yeah.
All right, one more question. One last thing to say to the world. What are you saying?
If you're into art and you don't feel like you're doing much, don't get frustrated. It's hard. It's a hard process. It's a hard field to get into, especially I got a lot of these kids that don't want to do makeup, and Hollywood is a hard, gig. They always ask me, why didn't you do it? I could have done it, but people don't realize that you're in it for like 6 weeks or 6 months, and then you're out of a job because the movie's over, the show's over.
You pay good money for that.
But you got to pay your insurance, you got to pay your taxes, and you got to hustle all the time. It's just don't give up. Practice. Take criticism, network, meet people. Don't get took. Don't do stuff for free. Your time and talent is worth something.
Take every opportunity that's given to you.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take that initial leap. That's one thing that put people in, a lot of.
What's the worst they could say? No. That's it.
That's it.
So, and that's how he got on a TV show, people. So I like that. Thank you for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's awesome.
I appreciate that you gave us some history on this building. That's in a movie. There's a reason why we got into this building. That's it for episode 110 of Pillar Talk. Thank you guys for showing up, and I love you. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, bro.
Brought to you by Brain Jerk. Fuck yeah.